Hi everybody, welcome back. This week it took me a little longer to get a video out because I was doing a number of projects and working with some contractors. Number one, I had a new asphalt driveway installed. I had to do some repair work on my internal garage floor space. I needed to put up a new no-dig fence, and I was trying to work on getting rid of some grass and maybe getting some tree roots removed so I could plant some new flowering trees and a shrub. So let's get started. I'll show you how it went. It was a big week. It took a lot of planning and a lot of time, but it was well worth it because I wanted to get it all prepped and ready for the winter. It was recommended that you use an edger, not a weed whacker, an actual trimmer. And what I did was make deep cuts in the lawn, nice and straight, and then I was able to easily dig out the grass and get pretty much it down fairly deep. So this is working out really well. It's making the job a lot easier. This is something to consider if you have a small area that you might want to remove grass from. So these are the plants that I bought. They are called viburnum, and they were on sale, and I got 2 for $25. So we bought 4 of them. They're all in the same color family, and we're going to be replacing this temporary fence once we get the plants in place. So let me continue on, and I'll show you how it's going as I proceed. So the tree root is huge around here, and it's extending all the way down. And we also have this other tree that might have feeders coming in to this area. And I'm going to dig out further, and we're going to get a small chainsaw to see if I can cut into some of these roots and then dig them out further so that I can proceed with planting the viburnum trees here. As you can see, these roots are pretty intense. I am down to where I can see the surface of these roots, and they're exposed pretty good. So now we are going to decide whether I'm going to use my small chainsaw, and my husband's going to try to go down deeper into the dirt with a reciprocating saw, or we're just going to drill some holes and pour some Epsom or rock salt or vinegar and salt solution and have to give it a couple of weeks before they start to decompose more. But if we can get the chainsaw and reciprocating saw to work, we can probably yank them out with a crowbar. So that's our next step. To help get the roots out of the ground, we went online and bought this mini chainsaw on Amazon. It was not reviewed yet. It was a new product, it seemed like, although there was a video from someone who used it by Tai Talk, and I'm going to try that. It did come with gloves, which was nice, and it came with an extra chain, and it's very lightweight. And I like that it was 21 volts like all the others, but it had 880 watts of power. It's a really good idea as you get older, especially, not to be afraid of power tools, and really try to work with them earlier in your lifetime if you can, so that you do not have any fear of power tools, even a power drill, just using a basic lawnmower, trimmer, edger, nothing major. I'm not even talking about using a table saw, but just basic items that you can use around your home that will make your life a lot easier. So this is just small enough and lightweight. I don't think I would trust myself with a larger chainsaw at my age, and even if I knew how to use it, I probably still will not use it, just because I don't think it's as safe for me to use right now. I'm getting ready to work on getting those tree roots out of my garden if possible. So what I want to show you is the item I'm going to use is by Titanic. It was $59.95. It was off of Amazon. It's very lightweight. It uses 21 volt battery. It has 880 watts. This is what it looks like. It also comes with a pair of gloves, and it also comes with safety goggles. And you do need to buy some motor oil to just put into this little reservoir to help keep the chain primed. It comes with a cover over the blade, and you just bend this back, and you just pull it off. Let me show you. Here, I can pull it off like that. This is what the blade and the item looks like. There's the brand name. This little dial is for tightening the chain if it gets loose. There is a safety button on the side that you press prior to starting it. And the battery is very small and lightweight, and it just attaches onto the bottom here, like that. And this is what it looks like when I press the button. I press it, and it stops. So I'm going to get started working on cutting into the roots in my garden. So let's see how it goes. We have decided we are totally defeated trying to get the tree roots out of the ground. We tried a reciprocating saw and we tried a small chainsaw. And so we're just going to have to wait to let them, just decompose on their own. We're not really in a big rush. We're having our driveway redone tomorrow. So I'm going to show you how that's going to proceed. So they started to come with the trucks to work on our driveway. There's a huge truck out at the front of our house, like this one. and there's a lot of workers. And there's a lot of trucks on the side here, and they have a lot more workers. And my husband is walking with them over to the driveway to tell them what needs to be done. My husband wants to talk to them to ask him about the roots that are in the ground that we could not dig out. I don't know if they can grind them out for us for an extra fee, but they're in the way, so we're just going to ask them what their thoughts are. out really good. When we pull out of the driveway at the end now, we don't go over this bump where we're going to hit the front end of our car. It came out as good as we could expect it. We don't have this area right here next to the fence was way lower. It was somehow put in, they said after the fact, but it just would pull water all the time. So we have a new driveway, and again, they weren't able to really pull out the roots over here. They did grind them down a little bit. I was pulling out some extra grinds that I found. We just decided that we're going to plant these in other places. So I have one remaining plant. Again, these are, they're called viburnum and they're called viburnum. And I have one left, and I'll show you where I planted the other three. As you can see, there is this huge division between this part of the driveway and that part. We're assuming that this part was here first as a single garage. When they converted it to a double, they may have added on this side and a piece of concrete on the other side to widen it up. And the seam is here, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's nice, I guess, as an expansion joist, but they're also uneven, and it's allowing a lot of debris to go inside of the crack. So this is what I bought. This is actually pipe insulation, and it has a seam here that you can open up. And what I'm going to do is cut this piece down into half, and see how that fits. I think it's going to be still a little too large. I'm going to cut that half probably into quarters, and this is a much more economical way. I looked into buying the actual just foam insulation that comes in a tubular shape, and they wanted something like $22 for 25 feet. And this is for 6 foot size is $1.50. So, and I can cut it down into 4, so I'm actually getting 24 feet for $1.50. So this was much more economical. So let me get started and show you how I do this. So I cut down the round one in half, and then I cut that half in half again. So now I have 2 pieces. I'll cut this one down as well. I'm going to first start along this seam to get it in and see how it fits. putting the insulation into all the cracks. As you can see, any pieces I needed to cut down further, I just trimmed. Any areas that were a little wider, I just added an extra piece of the foam insulation. It's very forgiving, it's easy to install. You can push it in with your hands, or you can use the end of a screwdriver or a chisel. And now I won't have debris falling into that crack, such as leaves and dirt, every time we bring our cars in the garage. They're done doing the driveway and it came out really good. I'll show you what it looks like, but still in all, they were not able to get the roots out. They really don't have a grinder for that kind of a process, and so they're still there. So I'm going to be going back to my original plan. I'm going to put these flowering trees and shrub in other parts of my garden. I've already started digging some holes, and next year, when they decompose maybe a little more, I'll try again to put some flowering plants in front of there. I still have to replace the fence, so that'll be another project I'll be working on. So let me get started though, just getting these plants that have been sitting out here in the pots for over 2 weeks in the ground. This is the potting mix I bought. It's called Glee. It actually is equivalent to 25 quarts of potting mix, all compressed. I'm going to take this, unbag one bag at a time, and put that in my wheelbarrow and add that to the soil like it says before I put the trees in the ground. I had this little corner part of my backyard that I had edged off with some pavers again that I had found all over my property. So I was able to plant one here, and then I was able to continue planting two back here. So I was able to plant one in the corner here, and it seems to be happy. I just watered it, and I planted one in the corner here, and I had a dogwood low flowering shrub that I put in my front yard. And the people who did our driveway were really nice. They even made a step for us because there was a big drop. As you can see, there's 2 levels of cement blocks, way too high for anybody to step down. So they made a little step for us, which was very nice of them. I'm headed out to the home improvement store right now because I need to get some grass killer, because I want to make sure wherever I'm removed the grass, even though the roots are still there, I don't want grass growing on top of it, because as the roots decay, I probably will be able to plant something in the future. I'm going to get some extra easy straw, and I have a large rubber mat that I used to use underneath my grill, but it was destroying the patio. I'm going to use that on top of the easy straw, and that's where I'm going to place my garbage can. So now everything will stay neat and tidy, and there won't be a lot of mud around. I'm also going to be looking at some new fence panels, because the fence that is here has decayed and a lot of the posts have actually snapped apart, so I need to replace that as well. So let me get going. Let me show you what I pick out and how far I get with this project. These are the fence panels I bought. They're 48 inches wide by 36 inches high. They're made by the Enchanted Garden Company, and it's the Euro collection. And I bought the 46-inch posts that go into it, and I anticipate having no trouble replacing out my other panels with these. These are the fence panels that we currently have up, and they have definitely seen their day. They are rusted and breaking at the bottom here and over here. We've had them up for over 13 years. We can never get the posts into the ground because the roots were there. These posts are fairly wide. They're also just more money than what I wanted to spend to replace them. These are about $55 a panel, and the ones I bought are $25 a panel. So hopefully these new ones will work out correctly, and I'll have no trouble. But I mean, while it was a good fence, I'm keeping the gates, and I'm going to just reuse those and remove the fence panels. When we installed the old fence, it came with these sharp spade-like ends attached to the pole. They're both separate. You can actually take them apart from each other, but these were very hard to get in the ground because of the roots and the hardness of the soil, and this is a much heavier, thicker post, so it was hard to work with as well. The new one again uses this much narrower, finely pointed tip that was easy to get in the ground with the roots and even with the hard soil with just the tapping of the mallet. We thought we were going to be able to keep this gate over here, but because of the slope from the step down to the rest of the walkway, the gate really doesn't work. So again, some of the plans have had to change. We're going to get just 2 extra panels, and I'm going to extend it across so that it's more flush with the straight walkway out beyond the gate. Also, this step made this part of the gate much shorter, and we're a little hesitant to have our dogs just stand there. So we're going to reposition the garbage cans right outside the door, which probably makes more sense because even though I don't really like them there, it's much more convenient. And especially in the winter when it gets snowy or cold out, I don't really want to have to walk all the way just to the end of this driveway to throw some garbage away. So this is our new solution to a couple of these issues, and I think that in the end it's going to work out better. Another change we're going to make is we're replacing this gate. It just won't close properly, the latch is bent, and so I went ahead and I bought a smaller fence panel here, and this one is 36 inches across, and the old one is 48 inches across. So I did also buy an end panel, some extra brackets for the ground, and we're going to see how that will work, and I think it'll be much better than the way it is currently. Because this fence is smaller than 48 inches, we did have to buy a bracket that we weren't able to drill, but we just cemented with Gorilla Glue. This Gorilla Glue says it adheres metal and concrete, and that's what we needed because it was a metal post going onto the concrete. Let it cure for 24 hours, and so we're ready to put the new gate up. So we finished doing the fence and we put the end panel and the gate up. It seems to be working well. I'll show you what we did and how we had to kind of do a little bit of jury rigging to get the gate to attach cleanly and fairly evenly to the rest of the fence. We completed putting the gate up, which finishes our fence installation. And basically we had to use this end panel that did not match because this particular fencing did not come with an end panel. And you might say, why didn't we pick just a different fence? Well, they either were more expensive, the more expensive ones had these larger posts, which we no longer wanted to use. We wanted to use the thinner posts. And a lot of them had openings here that were much wider than we would like for our dogs. So we went with this style and we just made it work. As you can see, my dog is not very big, but when it gets to be 4.5 inches, he could probably stick his head easily through these spaces, and I did not want him doing that. So we decided to use this end panel inside, because if we put it out here where you normally would put an end panel but up against a wall, this would have pushed the gate out further into the yard, and I did not want to deal with that. Plus the gate would then be opening up over the grass, and we did not want to deal with that. We wanted it opening up mostly over cement. So this whole thing took very little time. It did take a little bit of thought because we just had to jury rig some areas, such as this end here, because of the position of the fence run, and they're 48 inches. It didn't quite meet to the end, so we just used another end panel here, which worked out very nicely. They matched the other side, and it only required the use of a mallet. We bought some brackets, and some screws and an electric screwdriver and glue for the bracket. So it was pretty much a do-it-yourself project. So I think it was well worth the time and effort, and it was very affordable. I think the whole project cost about $300 to $325 if you include the glue and the brackets and things like that. Well, this completes my video of getting the fence up and doing some other things with the yard, dealing with the tree roots and etc., and making adjustments as I went along. I have not done one project on my house that has gone completely smoothly without having to make some kind of adjustment. So just always prepare for that and don't beat yourself up over it. I just take it as it goes, and it is what it is. So if you like this video, give it a like, a share, a thumbs up, and subscribe. I'll see you next time on Big City Girl, Small City Living. Bye.